Hey everyone, CPO here, and in this video we're going to continue the build. Why do I say we? Because it's just me. Hey everyone, CPO here, and in this video I'm going to continue the build process on my AR15. So in the previous video we removed the carbine length handguards, the factory A2 gas block and front sight post, and got everything all cleaned up, removed the flash suppressor, and so now we have a bare barrel, and it is a perfect time to bring the Stinger into the picture. So let me show you what I'm putting on this rifle. All right, so what I chose for this build was the Stinger HWK 15-inch, and I got the bundle package, and it was, there's a lot of reasons why. First of all, made in the USA, lightweight, aluminum, and yeah, with the bundle package, the price was pretty hard to beat. So I'm just gonna show you what I got here. This is the Stinger HWK HWK. Stinger likes to get rid of all of the vowels. So this is a 15-inch free float. I got the M-LOK, and yeah, it's pretty aggressive looking and quite functional. So we're gonna get this installed, and then because it comes as a bundle, let's see here, I also got a bag of bubble wrap. Let's see here. This is a low profile gas block, and it comes with a couple of these Picatinny rails that you can mount. These are M-LOK rails. So yeah, that, and then the other really cool thing that I like about this is it actually comes with the crow's foot for torquing down the barrel nut, so you don't have to figure out how to find your, or make your own. So that's a nice touch. Even comes with an Allen wrench. And then of course, the barrel nut is in here. There we go. So this is the barrel nut. It's an aluminum barrel nut, which I'm not really concerned with that. Aluminum will hold up just fine. What I really like about it though is it's a low profile, and you don't have to clock it. The gas tube is going to go over the top no matter what it is. So you torque it down to the recommended torque value, and then you just leave it. You don't have to clock it, which is nice. So yeah, all right, the very first thing I'm going to do is install the barrel nut, just because I'm going to leave the barrel connected to the rest of the upper, and yeah, so I'll get that on first. I'm going to go ahead, just clean these threads. This is just a little bit of gun scrubber. All right, and that will evaporate fairly quickly. All right, so we need to use some sort of a grease or anti-seize compound. This is what I use. This is marine grade non-metallic anti-seize. Now there is a mil spec for this, and there are lots of products that you can get that will meet that. This product actually exceeds it. It is designed for marine applications to prevent corrosion and galling, and that's really the goal of that. And it's also very high temperature. It's actually rated at a higher temperature than the mil spec is called for this application. So I see people use all kinds of different greases. The point is you want something that's going to prevent corrosion, and then you know, keep you from galling up your threads. So what I'm going to do is just thread that on hand tight, tighten it down, and then I'm going to back it off. This is called seasoning the threads, and it's going to do a couple things. It's going to spread that anti-seize all around. just going to wipe off a little bit of that excess that squirted out. Unfortunately, this stuff is a nasty, ugly brown. Tight, back off. And then, you know, I see people recommend just doing it by hand is enough. And then other people torque it down and then back it off after torquing it. I think it's probably fine just to do it by hand and then do a final torque down. But what I am going to do is torque it down, I'll undo it, and then I'll retorque it for the final time. So a couple things I want to point out here when we deal with this. First of all, we have this nice crow's foot right here. I think it's really cool that they send that with the barrel nut. And so I see pretty much every video I've seen shows this technique improperly. And they always talk about, you got to make sure you do it right. Then they continue and do it wrong. So let me show you this. When you use a crow's foot, you want it to be 90 degrees to the head of the torque wrench. Like I said, I see people and they say it has to be 90 degrees and then they run it like this. That is wrong. The way the torque wrench works is it's a known distance to the handle to whatever the fastener is that you're connecting. And this extends that distance. So you're actually putting more torque on it than what the torque wrench says. If you put it at 90 degrees like this, then the distance here is the same as the head. So this handle to fastener distance is going to be the same. So the way you're going to want to do this is like that. Okay. If you're doing it with this at any other angle, then it's wrong. It has to be 90 degrees either this way or this way. Okay. So that's what they mean when they say 90 degrees. So that's the first thing. The other thing I see all the time is when people torque it down and then they want to loosen it up, they use the torque wrench and they just flip the switch and then loosen it. Don't do that. It's bad for your torque wrench. Have another half-inch wrench or breaker bar or something that you can use to break that off. So don't loosen with your torque wrench. So those two tips alone are two things that I rarely see covered correctly in barrel nut videos. And every single video, even like people you wouldn't expect, I'm not gonna name names, but people who are experts or gunsmiths, they tell you to do it right and then on camera they do it wrong. So pay attention to that. All right, so the torque spec on this is 30 to 60. So I'm going to set it to 30 for the first time. And then I will back it off and then set it to 40. So as you can see, I want to get this to 90 degrees off the head of the torque wrench, like that. All right, and that is 30. Doesn't take a lot. So now I'll use a breaker bar to loosen that back off again. And I'm gonna unthread it a little bit. And then back on. I'll go ahead and do a final tighten on this. I'm gonna set it to 40. Just to have it a little bit more than the minimum, but far enough away from the maximum. 90 degrees. It's so important. So many people get that wrong. So does it really matter in this case? I mean, not really. There's such a wide torque range, 30 to 60. So even if you're accidentally torquing more than you think you are, you're in the safe range probably. Really, most gunsmiths aren't even going to use a torque wrench. They're just going to get it to where it's tight and then a little bit more, And then if you've got a clock for your gas tube, you just clock it to where you need it and you're done. So yeah, I mean, the reality of it is they're not hurting anything. It's just, if you're going to explain how to do it, at least do it the way you explained it. So I'm gonna go up for 40. There it is. And we are done. That is torqued down at 40 foot-pounds, and I don't have to worry about doing anything clockwise because the gas tube is going to slip right over the top of it, just like that. So that's one of the cool things about these barrel nuts with the Free Float handguards. Oh, and before I go, make sure you run your torque wrench handle back down to where there's no tension on it, basically 0. That way when you store it, it's not under tension. That will help it stay calibrated.